Okay, folks, I appreciate everybody's comments on the last video, and I sort of apologize. I just, you know, it's not necessarily views to me. I mean, I don't want everybody to think that. You know, my whole point is to motivate people and try to get something out of it. I mean, you know, something besides just entertainment. Maybe, you know, to learn something, and I'm not saying I'm worthy of teaching, but you know, I like people to be able to get motivated to do something on their own. So, and it was just seeming like it was going downhill, and you know, you can see the length of time that people watch the videos. Not any particular person, but an average watch time. And when you make a 20-something minute video and the average watch time is 6 minutes, you know, you start worrying and wondering maybe if you're doing something wrong. So I'm not sure what I need to do, if I need to just shorten all the videos up or what I need to do. But you know, I don't want to be making them just for the heck of it. I mean, I want somebody to get something out of it. And anyway, we'll figure it out one way or the other. But back messing around with this thing a little bit, figured I'd try to film some of it. And I know there was a big controversy over this clutch basket, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of people missed the video that I showed this original when I bought it. I bought this off eBay. I bought it for $9, free shipping, and I bought it because one reason it had a broken piece in it, you know, and who's going to buy a broken clutch basket? Now, you know, the seller was pretty smart to put it on there, but because I was actually looking for a cheap one, because all I was worried about was the splines. And I've had a few people tell me that this didn't go on the crankshaft, it went on the transmission shaft, and which probably true. I think, you know, there was another basket that went on the outside of it that actually spun free and caught the outsides of the clutches, and it had a gear on it, and that gear would have went to the gear that was on the crankshaft. But my whole point is, and I guess I just got lucky on this, the splines are the exact same as the crankshaft, and that's what I needed. That's why I bought this. This is going to get all machined down. I'm going to make a solid chunk of steel pulley for this, and this will get machined down, and it's actually going to bolt to it from the inside so you can't see the bolts. And this is what I need to be able to put the pulley on, but I need the weight. The flywheels on that crankshaft's just not as heavy as I want them to be, and you know, you need a pretty big rotating mass, and the diameter of them is really smaller than I wanted, but there's not much I can do about it because the rod length is so short. You know, I could actually cut out pieces and add to it, to the outside of the crankshaft, and you know, make the mass farther out. But so anyway, that's our plans for this. So this is not going to be used as a clutch. It's not going to be a wet clutch, dry clutch. It's just going to be a pulley, and there's not going to be a lot of it left when I'm done. I'm just going to do enough to be able to machine a piece of steel, and it'll probably be the diameter of this outside, and I'll probably take everything off from here and then cup it so it actually goes over top, and you won't be able to tell really that it's aluminum at all. It'll be completely covered. And anyway, that's what this is for. Okay, now I'm working on the bushing. This is the bushing for, this is the, camera don't like to, this camera don't do good up close. This is my new camera, so I'm in the shop. And excuse my rust there. Here, let me turn it so you don't see it. I think it's everywhere. But yeah, this is what happens when you have a shop that's not climate controlled, especially when it rains and it starts sweating and stuff in here, whatever you want to call it. There's no insulation in the roof. So here's our seal. It's a double-sided seal. We're going to use it anyway. It's not a big deal. You know, it's not like it's going to hurt anything. I've got this piece made. Seal goes on good. Got it really smooth. Getting ready to bore it, to slide over that crankshaft, and then I'll, you know, machine it to length. So, you know, this actually goes on it, and you know, it'll actually push in, and when I put the bolt in it, it'll hold it on. So, and eventually the bolt will probably come all the way through. I'll use a long bolt and it'll actually hold the pulley on too. So anyway, that's where we're at. This will just pull this in against the center of the bearing. So, you know, it's not going to hurt anything. And seal right on it, and then we'll do something to seal the inside so the oil don't leak down through, you know, the splines or whatever, which it's not splined all the way. So anyway, we'll get back on this, go ahead and try to get it bored, cut, and go with it. I'm going to rechuck this. I'm going to put some put a piece of emery cloth around it to keep it from damaging the outside, because that's where our seal's running, and then we'll machine this end of it off, which is the problem, and then we'll see how it fits on there. Okay folks, here's what we've got. We've got our bushing on, we've got our seal on there, as you can see, fits good. That'll seal up just fine. Like I said, double seal, double lip seal, so it'll seal anything coming in or coming out. You know, it don't matter, it's not a big deal as long as we've got it from coming out. And anyway, this will be the case, and then we'll have the seal groove in there, and then this will stick out just a little bit, and then let me slide this on there for you. And hopefully, let's get it where maybe you can see in there. Well, anyway, it slid all the way up to the bushing, and as you can see, it's just about even out here. So we'll build our pulley, machine all this off. The pulley will bolt on through the center, and it'll have we'll probably just use these holes, and 6 holes, and bolt it from the back side to this aluminum, and then we'll have the bolt running through the center of the steel pulley to actually hold it on, and that'll keep everything together like it needs to be. And so that's pretty much this side. I will have to do some turning on this side, mainly for our gear, but before I do that, I want to get the case machined, because I want to get my depth right on it. And you know, I can chuck it up, and it's got of course it's got a center here, so we'll chuck it between centers and machine it how we need it, get our gear on. Probably cut a keyway and broach a keyway in the gear, put it on there, and you know, we'll do that when we get into the timing of it. And you know, a lot to do. I've still got to make the slinger for it, and we're going to go back here to the rockers. Okay, next we're still trying to do some figuring on our rockers here. I've got an idea what I want to do, but you know, things change all the time, so I may not do it. But one thing I wanted to say, I told everybody I wanted 300 lift. This engine actually had over 300 lift originally. The reason them cams only have 110 is they're Briggs & Stratton FH cams. One's an FH, one's an F5 from the 20s. And they had a cam follower that ran on them that sort of increased the lift some, and the way that it was set up. And then it also had a rocker arm on top that wasn't 1-to-1, so it actually increased the tear. I don't know what the original lift would have been on the Briggs, but you know, it was much more than the 110 thousandths. So I'm not modifying, you know, from stock. I'm actually trying to get back to closer to stock is what we're doing. So there's no fear of these bottoming. And matter of fact, I pushed them until it did bottom, and it's over 500 thousandths. So it's over ½ inch before you start getting a coil bind on it. So anyway, okay. Basically, I'm going to machine out a solid chunk that will sit here. And the front side I'll machine from the top down low enough to put the bolts in. And that way it'll stay out of the way of everything here. Sort of like what they had here. You know, they had it really low. And so we'll do that. I'm not sure what size bolts these are. they're small. The head's on them 5/16. You know, they might be 1032, something like that. But anyway, we're probably going to actually drill and go ahead and tap these out to quarters and to, you know, make it a little stronger bolt. But my plan, I think I'm going to run these original rockers with some modifications. I think what I'm going to do is I'll end up cutting it here and lengthening this end, and probably cutting them back here and shortening this end. Now these are forged. You know, all the rockers I've ever messed with before, I have had no trouble whatsoever welding to them. I used to take a cutoff wheel and cut between here and move it back the thickness of the cutoff wheel and weld it back, and that was just to get more lift on pulling tractors, you know, with the stock setup. But we, you know, we can do that. We'll get our rocker stand made, and then we'll start figuring exactly what we need to do. I thought about maybe cutting these off and maybe narrowing them up and make them a little smaller and welding them to the original piece. And this is just too big around, too much, you know, takes up too much room for what we need to do. But basically the shaft that goes through it, these will sit inside of this bolt hole, and I may have to do some narrowing up on them, work on them. And the bolt will actually go directly through the rocker shaft and then through our actual through our rocker stand and then down into the head. And that'll hold this in place, keep it from turning. We're going with a single instead of a double. Here's what they had originally on here. They had a bushing, and then they had a 1/4 inch bolt through it. So it's not going to take much to be stronger than a 1/4 inch bolt running through. And so that's the plan. You know, I'm going to start out with a chunk of steel, probably 1 inch tall, and we'll actually machine it to where this sits down in the top of it, and then we'll machine flats on it. And this probably is not what I'm using, but we'll machine flats on it, and the bolts will go directly down through it. And you know, I've been collecting up some stuff here and there. These are valve guides, and I'm not even sure what they are. They could be small block Chevrolet, which I've got some other styles too. Thinking about or thought about maybe using the valve guides as lifter guides. And I was looking at these. I don't know if this is hardened or not, but possibly for lifters. And we're going to run directly off the cam instead of running a cam follower or anything. So we'll have to, you know, make sure we get it right. People don't realize a lifter's not flat on the bottom. A lifter's actually ground. And when they grind it, it's higher in the center than it is on the outsides. And they do that so when it's in there, it'll actually spin. And so, you know, lifters are definitely not flat on the bottom. So we'll have to do some figuring on that to get that right. And this may be our rocker shaft. Now this is a fuel pump rod out of a Chevrolet, so it's going to be hard and hard as a rock actually. But you know, we might just work with that. That way we know we're not going to have any wear on it. But anyway, that's basically how you do it. You start finding parts and getting ideas in your head of what you're going to do. But we did get our crank done, our bushing done. Waiting on drill bits. I ordered what I needed for drill bits. Getting this drill bit out is actually absolutely not going to be a problem. That drill bit is actually all the way through down to probably within a half or a quarter of being through it. What I'll do is I'll do the other ones, and then once I get them drilled, I just don't want to move it. I want to leave it here for a guide until we get all the other ones done, and then I'll split the case in half. When I split it in half, you know, I'll be able to, you know, get it out of there, you know, twist it backwards, and it'll come out. That's not a problem there. I'm just, you know, like I said, I don't want to touch that until I get the drill bits. I don't want to really even move the setup. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Should have them in a couple days. Should have the other arbor. I went ahead and ordered it in a couple days, R8 for a born bar. I'm going to try to get by without a coaxial indicator on this one. I think I can. You know, if I can do everything in one pass where I don't have to reset anything up, you know, it'll make it okay. And I think on the videos, what I'll do is I'll just start doing short updates and try to keep them around 5 minutes or so everybody don't get bored with watching. And anyway, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. I did work on the rollback some today, but I did have a bunch of tows today. So this is a Monday, and wreck, actually one wreck, and then the rest were just breakdowns. But 2 flat tires and some other breakdowns. But tires seem to be, it's weird how this works. You know, it seems like when it's tires, it's a bunch of them, and when it's, you know, wrecks, it's a bunch of them, and when it's, you know, engines blowing up, you know, you get 4 or 5, and I mean, it's kind of weird. But anyway, all right, I appreciate everybody watching, and I'm gonna try to get my mess cleaned up here. I got chips everywhere. But till next time, bye.